Welcome everyone. Welcome to the Smart Data Extraction webinar. We will focus on optimized document processing with iText pdf2Data and OCR. See, still some people are coming in. However, in the interest of time, we're going to get started. I am Karim, and I'm here together with Andre Lemos, who is our global lead for products and services. He will run the webinar with a demo of our smart data extraction functionalities. Before I hand over, a few practical items. If you have any questions for us, we have a Q&A session at the end of the webinar. However, feel free to already submit your questions through the Q&A button control panel here in GoToWebinar. We can try to get to you during the webinar, or we will answer your questions at the end of the webinar. If we don't get to your question, be certain that we will get back to you in the next few days with an answer. We're also recording this webinar, so afterwards you can still follow the recording of this webcast. And if you want, you can also share on social. Just tag iText on your social posts if you would like to communicate about this webinar externally. Andre, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Karin. So welcome everyone. So like Karin mentioned, we are just going to start our webinar around pdf2Data. So what we'll discuss, so a very quick brief intro on who am I, who we are as a company, so iText. We have a quick recap on the iText ecosystem, and why a recap? Because we did a previous webinar around PDF OCR, and we also mentioned our redaction product, PDF Sweep, and we showed how these products, are present in the whole ecosystem that iText provides, and we will show how pdf2Data can fill into that ecosystem. And then, of course, a very quick overview on the steps that you need to do to use pdf2Data. And then, well, it's not present here, but we'll have a quick poll before the demo.
Yeah.
And then followed by a Q&A session, as Karin just mentioned. So as Karin said, my name is Andre. I've been with iText for roughly 1.5 years, and I'm the global lead of product and sales. I'm a developer by trade, so hopefully you'll notice that. And you can see me here doing my favorite thing, which is being a parent. Yeah, now we've added one more to the family, so good times and a lot of good nights. So who we are, iText is a fast-growing technology company. We are very active in the digital document space, and we are also perceived as a leader when it comes to PDF technology. Our flagship product is iText 7, an open source SDK to create and manipulate PDF documents, which is available under a dual licensing scheme. So both HGPL, open source license, and a commercial one. iText started off in Java, but has also long supported .NET or C#. And we're actually been very busy over the last 20 years. So the iText 7 SDK includes iText 7 Core and several add-ons providing additional functionality. We have PDF Calligraph, which allows you to unlock advanced typography features in PDF. So think about Arabic, Hebrew, Thai languages so that you can render them correctly, but so that you can also extract that information from PDF files. We have PDF Sweep, which we have used in our previous webinar about PDF OCR. So PDF Sweep removes or redacts information from a PDF document in a reliable and secure way. We have PDF HTML, our most popular open source add-on that allows you to create standards compliant PDFs that are accessible, searchable, and usable. So this is very useful if you want to, index HTML or CSS by converting that content into PDF file. We have pdf2Data, which of course is the main topic of this presentation, which is actually our first product that had non-developers directly using our solutions. We have iText Ditto, a product which is our second foray into more business-like applications. So basically enabling actors other than developers to use our tools. And it is a document generator that simplifies the process of creating and maintaining data-driven forms and templates by simply using a visual template designer and having a powerful backend for document generation. And finally, we have pdf OCR, our text recognition add-on that enables you to extract content from an image and make it accessible through a PDF. And I'm lifting the veil a little bit, but in January, we're going to have one more square on this big table that we have already. So stay tuned for that. So iText helps pave the future of PDF. You know, being a part of the PDF Association and representing Belgium on the ISO committee ensures that iText is present and available to contribute to the future of the PDF format, so that our users always get the latest and greatest. Most importantly, there's a huge developer community that we try to foster as much as possible. So pull requests are always welcome, and you know, you can always get some nice swag with it. So what's not to like? So our ecosystem, a recap. So I understand that it's kind of a big diagram and maybe hard to read, but it's just to show you that iText offers a very comprehensive set of tools. So let's just do a quick recap on what we saw on our last webinar, and let's move forward. So during our previous webinar, we saw how PDF OCR could be used to turn a plain image into a fully fledged PDF-A document with the ability to recognize even advanced typography like Arabic and Thai characters with the help of PDF Calligraph. And then, after this process, we were able to feed the resulting PDF into PDF Sweep to redact some of the information present on it. So for instance, in this case, we were handling an invoice and we were redacting the dollar amounts, so the prices that were present on the invoice. And we used pattern matching to do this redaction. So for this webinar, we will start off where we left on this previous webinar. So we will show that PDF invoice later on, so that you can kind of remember where we left off. So after doing the recognition using PDF OCR on a paper invoice and redacting some of the information, our journey continues as we extract data that was otherwise locked away in a paper document that was just scanned and stored with its data inaccessible. So after doing the recognition using PDF OCR on that PDF OCR invoice and redacting some of the information, then on the scope of this webinar, we are going to extract the data that it would be otherwise lost and locked away. So here's a quick overview on how pdf2Data works. So you can see there a quick screenshot of the document that we've used on the PDF OCR presentation, and I will show you the resulting PDF. We will navigate a little bit around it. But in here, you know, the takeaway is that you first just need to choose one example PDF with data that you'd like to extract, which for our example will be the invoice that we used during the PDF OCR webinar. So after you choose one sample document, you visually define which fields you would like to extract using our web app. It's a visual web app so that non-developers and developers alike can use it with ease. So in this particular image, we are defining a purchase order number for extraction. So basically, we have one document, one example document, and we are giving pdf2Data the rules on the type of data that we want to extract from all of our documents. Okay, so it's very easy. You visually define if the fields, which fields you want to recognize, and then you can validate already before doing any code at all if pdf2Data is able to recognize and extract the information correctly. And then finally, you just need to run all your files through pdf2Data. So whether it is 10 files, 1 million files, 1 billion files, it doesn't matter. You can just use this one created template to extract the data by using our SDK, which is available in both Java and .NET. If neither of these work, there's also a CLI version, so a command line version for your convenience. So if you are using, I don't know, let's say Python or Perl or C++, whatever the case may be, we have a solution for you as well. So Karin?
Yeah. Okay, so let's do this poll now. So before we go into the demo, we thought it would be interesting to see what kind of documents you typically need data extraction from. So I'm going to launch the poll. Normally you should see it now. So which types of documents do you often need to extract data from? And you can select multiple responses. So we here have a few examples: invoices, receipts, forms, which can be purchase order forms, registration forms, claim submissions, or anything else. So what kind of documents do you often need to extract data from? Give it a few more seconds. See that GoToWebinar is already collecting responses. Okay. I think majority will have responded by now. I will close this poll and we'll see how quickly we'll get the responses. This is the first time we're using this in a webinar, so this is also a trial for us. We tested it up front, but you never know in real life. So I'm going to share. Yeah, it works. Can you see the answers as well, Andre?
Yes, absolutely. So it's very nice to see that, well, nice to see. It's good to see that invoices was the #1 answer, because that's exactly the example that we are bringing to you today.
Yeah, so well chosen, Andre.
Thank you, Karin.
Okay. Then I will hide the poll so you can go to the demo. Thank you everyone for replying to the poll.
Okay, very well. So back to business, let's say. So the demo real quick. What are we going to do? So yeah, we're going to use our document that was used on the PDF OCR webinar. So I'm going to show it real quick so you can see it again and see what we are dealing with. We're going to use different types of mechanisms to select which data we want to extract by using our web tool, by visually defining that. And then we will show how you can extract that data in bulk from all of the invoices in this particular case that you need to process. For our PDF OCR webinar, we walk through a .NET example. So for this one, we will use a Java one. But mind you, again, that pdf2Data is available for both Java and .NET with a very, very similar and simple API, if we're honest. So without further ado, let's kick things off by visually defining what we want to extract from our PDF OCR recognized document. Okay. So as you can see here, we have the invoice that we used on the PDF OCR webinar. So this was an image to begin with. So I mean, if I start to zoom in, you can see some artifacts here, just because it was a scanned image. So you can see that the quality wasn't really there on the image file, but now the text is here and it's selectable and it is extractable. Okay, so this is our invoice. So your typical invoice, there's an invoice number, there's a date, who our customer is, our purchase order number, and then we also have a table with several items listed, and then of course a total amount. So your run-of-the-mill, very typical invoice. Okay, so what we are going to do now is we are going to load this document. Okay, so let me show you. So I just came here to the pdf2Data.online. So you can do it too if you want to. While we are showing, you can do it yourself. There's a quick start example that you can see it. But for this demo, we are going to use the PDF that was used on the PDF OCR webinar. So let's just select that PDF. I have it here. Okay, so first step, of course, is we need to define data fields. So which data we want to extract from the document. Okay, so here we have the document. So let's create a new data field. So I'm going to do a very simple one to start, which is the date. So let's say that we want to extract the date from millions of invoices, from all of the inbound invoices that we receive in our system. So it's as simple as this. I've visually defined a bounding box at constraint, and then I simply select a predefined data type that I want to extract. So in this particular case, it's a date type. So I just select date, and I can define here the name of the data field, which is going to be useful when I extract the data. I want to know what I'm extracting. So I'll just type date of invoice, and let's save. And as I save, you can already see that pdf2Data was able to recognize and extract the data field. You'll notice that the date string isn't pulled because, of course, that doesn't really matter to us, but just the information contained therein. Okay, so now I'm going to perform a magic trick. So it's kind of like one of those baking shows where they put the muffins in the oven and then all of a sudden it's already baked. Okay, so I'm just loading. Let's see. Okay, so I'm just loading a template where we've already defined a lot of other data fields. We could already see them here if I scroll down, but let's jump to the editor just to have a different overview. So as you can already see from the gray boxes, there's already a lot of data that we have chosen to extract from this document. Okay, so we have here the invoice address, the shipping address, invoice number, date, purchase order number, and then finally the table. Okay, so but what does that look like, and what selectors have we chosen here? So we can start with, well, we can start with the date, which is something that I had already shown. And as you can see, simple dates. We have the data here. But we can go, let's say, to invoice. Okay, so for invoice, we use kind of it's called a pattern extractor. So you can see here the selector. So you can see it as kind of a pattern match simplified, where you just, in this particular case, we've just defined the prefix of the data that we want to extract. So kind of like the date selector, where the date string was excluded from the extraction. With this pattern selector, we are also excluding the invoice string, because that's irrelevant for our process. Then here on the to field, we have used the paragraph selector, as you can see here. So basically, we are saying that we want to extract the paragraph data that is preceded by a ship2 information. Oh, sorry, I have the wrong one selected. But as you can see, you just need to define what comes before the paragraph. Yeah, here we have the ship2. Okay, so it's as simple as that. PO number. So in here we've used pattern matching. So in here it's more for advanced users. Of course, you could use the pattern extractor and just use the pound key to extract everything. But it's just to show you the power of pdf2Data, where you can simply just use a pattern match to extract. So for those of you who are not familiar with pattern matching, basically what we are saying is that we want to extract a set of digits, and they are 10 digits, and they are preceded by a pound sign. And by having the parentheses here, we are saying that we just want to extract the digits. So only after everything that is after the pound sign. Okay, so we can see here on the result that even though the bounding box has, most of the cell, only the number is being extracted. And then finally, the table. Okay, so the table is very interesting. So there's a table selector, and you can see here the headers. And you can see that automatically it detected how many rows and how many columns the table selected. So this may seem, simple, but it's actually one of the most powerful features of pdf2Data, because if you have a table on an invoice, it's typically a table, a growing table. It's a dynamic table. You may have, in this particular case, we have 10 rows, but we could have, 5 rows, 20 rows, who knows, okay? So it's detecting the columns and the rows. And I can show you now, if we leave this editing mode, we can see here that it's already correctly extracting all of the information that we have on the table already in a tabular format. Okay, so basically we have the template. So after you've done this, you just need to download it, the template. Here it is. You can kind of preview how things were defined. And this is the file that then we are going to use on our SDK for mass data extraction. So let's jump right into that. Okay, so here we have a very simple project. You'll notice how little lines of code we have here. Okay, so basically going line by line, starting here. In here, we simply define a path to the template that we just generated using our visual editor. And then here we are going through a list of PDF files that we have here. Okay, so this result one is this PDF file. Okay, so then we are going through a list of PDF files, and we are going to extract the data in there, and we are going to save that data as an XML file. Okay, so let's just run the process. Okay, one thing that you might have noticed is that we have 2 PDFs here for processing. So let's take a look at that other PDF file. Okay, so as you can see, it's a somewhat visual, similar document, but obviously it contains different information. So our customer is different. It has a different name. It has a different street company name, a different street name, a different country name, different invoice name, different PO number. And in here, well, I got a bit lazy and I just added random items. But basically, it's a bigger table than the one that we had here on results with different information. So in here, we had 5 rows, 5 items. And in here, we have 8. Okay, so this is to show you that you just need to define your template once, and then you can extract from multiple PDF documents the same documentation. So we have here on the output result.xml file, we should have the extracted data from the first PDF file. So from this file. So let's see here, we have, yeah, so the 30th of June was the date. Okay, so let's just do a quick check here. Okay, here we are, and we have the name of the field that was defined. Okay, so that was correctly extracted. We have, so let's jump here. We have the address. Okay, here it is, all of the information. Okay, we have the goods. So here we have the first row, which of course is the header of the table. And then let's confirm. So we have 10 lasers. So we can see it's 10 lasers. This is the description. They each cost $3,000, which makes it a total of $30,000. So let's check that information. Yeah, so it's good. 10 lasers, $3,000, $30,000. Okay, so all of that information is here. You will see here that we've extracted this information as well as part of the table extraction. So let's see that as well. So of course, we have empty cells because those columns are not there. But then, of course, you have all of the information here. Okay. And then finally, we have the invoice, PO number, and the ship address. So all of that information is here. But now the question is, the real question is, because I mean, come on, we were defining the template with this PDF. It would be pretty bad if we were unable to extract that data. So let's look at the PDF that was unknown to pdf2Data, okay, which was this one. So it's a different document. It was scanned, differently, so we can actually see that in terms of quality, it's slightly different. So the result one, so this first one, it had, a bit of some issues here. Maybe the DPI wasn't as large. And then we have this one, it has a bit more quality. But then what really matters is that the content is different, especially if we look at the table. Okay, so I mean, yeah, I was a bit lazy. I could have really different items here, but my Austin Powers knowledge kind of ran out after I did lasers, band-aids, sharks, pounds of meat, and eye patches. So I simply added more items to the table, some random items. So let's see how pdf2Data fared with that extraction. Okay, so I mean, easy peasy. The address, I mean, it's somewhat similar format. The date is there. The table is here for the initial ones. So let's see if the new ones, yeah, here it is. So pdf2Data was able to recognize that the table grew, but it knows that the table as a structure doesn't have to be confined to a given space within the document. Okay, So for this, we just ran with 2 PDF documents. But of course, depending on your use case, you can do it as PDFs arrive at your system, or you can bulk process, millions of invoices, let's say, at the end of each quarter, at the end of the month, however you want to do it. Okay. So finally, one thing that I would like to remind is that, okay, so this was a Java example, but we have available for .NET as well, and a CLI too. Okay, so thank you, and now we can go back to the presentation and jump to the QA time.
Yeah, thank you, Andre. See, we've already passed a half hour, but let's take a few moments to answer a few questions. We received a few of them.
Okay.
Perhaps the first question that has come in. Can business users test multiple PDF files for extraction? So can business users test multiple PDF files for extraction?
Yeah, so that's a really good question, and I can actually demo that real quick. So if we go back here on how we were, so let's jump here. So we defined the fields for this document, and we were able to visualize if it was working, the extraction, right? So that's easy and simple. Okay, and then I'm leaving. But let's say I want to test with a different document. You can indeed. So we have here this second step. So let's go there and let's choose a different PDF document. So let's go with the result one, which was, the slightly different one that we were seeing. Okay, so pdf2Data is going through this other PDF document. Yeah, it's running on my laptop, so bear with me. And here we have the information. So we have here the extracted information as text, let's say, but we also have a visual reference, as you can see, on how this information is displayed, or rather is present on the PDF file. Okay, so it's pretty cool. You don't have to be a developer to validate if the work you've just done, if the file, if the template you've just visually defined, if it is correct or not. And then you can hand over this file to your development team. Or of course, if you are a developer, then you can pick this template that you just defined and integrate it into your development process. So yeah, very, very good question, and I'm happy that we could show it.
Yeah. Yeah, more questions are coming in. Louis is asking whether he can test the full ecosystem himself.
Right, so by ecosystem, you mean, so let's go back some slides and show here our ecosystem. Yeah, so if you mean this ecosystem, then absolutely. We offer a trial license from our website. Of course, as we mentioned before, most of our products are open source. But if you simply register for a trial license, we will be able to assist you with the process. If you have questions, we have a team present in all the 3 continents. So we have a support team present in the US, here in Europe, and another one in Asia. So we will be able to support you with your particular use case. And of course, it will also unlock some of our closed source products like PDF Calligraph, pdf2Data, or Ditto, or PDF Render. Okay.
Yeah, thank you. I see more questions are coming in. We won't have the time to go through all of them. We will get back to you if we can't answer your question during this webinar. But I have to say there are a few interesting ones. Sujay is asking, if I receive invoices from 50 different vendors, so 50 different design layouts, would I have to create 50 templates to enable extraction? Sujay is asking that.
Yeah, yes, indeed, you would have to. So you'd have to create a template per, let's say, yeah, per file type that you receive. To be very honest, we do see some companies out there in the market where they only focus on invoices, and they are very good at recognizing what an invoice looks like, and you don't necessarily need to use a template to extract that data. But then, of course, there's a trade-off to it, and that's how we want to cater to our developers best, we think, which is to give you the flexibility to extract data not only from invoices, but also from other file types. So for instance, during our poll, we saw that invoices accounted to 40, 50%, I think. 60% of our replies. So if you were to use a tool specific for invoices and you want to process anything else, really anything else outside of invoices, then you'd be stuck. Okay, so what we always try to do here at iText with our tools is to cover a lot of different use cases, because having a developer tool line and a business line, especially for the developer tool line, we want to cater for all of the use cases that our customers may have. Okay, so hopefully that answers the question.
Yeah. Gianbo, if you need more information, don't hesitate to reach out to us. A few more questions. Andrew is asking, are you able to get the coordinates of each text check? So are you able to get the coordinates of each text check?
Yeah, so yeah, so it was something that we were actually kind of we kind of got a glimpse of it here. So we could have here extract the coordinates of the information. Yeah, that is getting extracted. So absolutely.
I now also see he added some other elements to his questions. Table without border, is it possible to recognize that? What if there is no header in the table?
Yeah. So so pdf2Data has multiple ways of detecting a table. So one of them, of course, is if there is a table structure, so borders, but we also see how the text is positioned. So, if you forego the table structure, how the text, how the cells, how the rows, how the columns are positioned on the document kind of follow a pattern, right? So pdf2Data does recognize that. And if you have an example that you want to try it yourself, you can, of course, you can sign up for a trial license and we will assist you with your particular example. Or you can simply go to pdf2data.online and you can try it yourself. Okay, but basically to answer the question, it's a mix of things, but no, the borders do not have to be there.
Okay. I see Giambo spotted something. You switched from pdf2Data online to a certain other file type when demoing.
Yeah.
So he's asking whether these features that we've demoed, are they perhaps not available on the public site?
That's a very good question, and I'm happy that you've asked. Well, all of the features are available indeed, but I'm as a product manager as well here as that role, I'm always trying the latest snapshot version. So in this particular case, we are working on being able to group data on the XML file, and that's something that we did not demo here So it's not something that, it's not, we weren't demoing something that is not available on the public website. Yeah, so that's not an issue. Don't worry about it. I can load the same file either here locally, but as you can see, it's just a snapshot. And one thing that we do at iText is that we make the snapshots available to our users as well, so they don't have to wait. So we typically do quarterly releases for our developer line, but so that our users don't have to wait for the quarter to be able to have access to, a fix or a new functionality. We give them access to the snapshot version, but also rest assured that the snapshot versions go through the exact same quality assurance process as our releases. So you can try them as well. So, the person who asked, if you don't trust me, you can use the snapshot version yourself. You can download it and deploy it on your own laptop, the same way that I did. No problems there. Or if you don't want to install locally, just come to the pdf2Data .online. But in any case, as I said, we do quarterly releases. So our next release is coming up. It will happen during this month, during October. So in any way, the pdf2Data .online will get updated as well with the latest and greatest. So no worries there, I would say.
Thanks for the clarification. 2 more questions, perhaps. And I see a few people have asked the same question, like Christian and Josh and Anne. What about the pricing for pdf2Data?
Okay, so well, naturally, what I would recommend is that you reach out to your sales representative. Okay, because it will wildly depend on your scenario. So I will say this: the models that we have. So without going into prices itself, is that we have a volume model. So basically, you will tell us how much documents you want to process per year. Okay, so you can say, I'm going to process 60,000 documents per year, 500 documents per year. So depending on that tier, depending on those needs, there's a different price point for that. And that's a very big reason on why we like to talk to our prospects, to our potential customers, because we want to understand the use case. We want to work with them because because maybe there's another tool or a different way of doing things. And that's another advantage of signing up for a trial license, is that we work closely together with you to understand your use case and suggest maybe different tools that we may have that will work to your advantage.
Yeah. So, and actually, if you go to the next slide, you can show the URL. Well, people can always try, and if they're happy, they can always come to our website and contact us for more information, which can be indeed regarding pricing. Since we are already 15 minutes over time, a final question. What will be the topic of the next webinar? Question I was happy to see.
Wow. Well, so the plan when we started doing this set of webinars, so we started with the PDF OCR. We've included a whiff of calligraph and sweep on that first webinar, and then we did PDF to data after that. So if I quickly go again to our ecosystem, let me just turn on a pointer. Okay, so we've done PDF OCR, calligraph, and sweep on the first one. Today we are doing pdf2Data. So the next one should be iText Ditto. Isn't that right, Karin?
Yes. So in November, the next webinar that we will run will be in November and will be aligned to the next iText Ditto release. But obviously, we will work with Andre and Erwin to make sure that this fits nicely in this ecosystem, so you can see the continuation of the flow. After this webinar, in a few days, you will get the link. You will all get an email with a link to the recording. I'll make sure that we add the link to the previous webinar, so you can also see the demo there, the first part of the flow where we got to the invoice template now. So you can have a look and see that as well. If any further questions, don't hesitate to contact us. So rest assured, everyone who submitted a question and we haven't answered it, we will now give it to Andre and his team, and they will get back to you in the next few days with a detailed answer on that. Then I would say thank you all very much for your time today, and we look forward to seeing you at our next webinar. Thank you also, Andre, for your time.
Thank you, Karin.